and welcome back to Blush and Bloom, the podcast where we explore women's health and the people creating change. I'm your host, Gigi, founder of Asala, a PsychoSyncs productivity app, and today's guest is Emma. She is the founder of Dearbump, a fast-growing maternity support platform helping women feel seen, supported, and informed from pregnancy through early motherhood. She's gone from launching an app on stage to growing a community of over 75,000 people, all while advocating for better maternal care at home and in the workplace. She's giving women the tools and knowledge they need to have safer and more confident pregnancies. So, let's get into the podcast. Thank you so much, Emma, for joining me on the podcast. So, for someone meeting you for the first time, how do you introduce yourself and describe what you do?
Hi, so I'm Emma and I'm the founder of Dearbump. So Dearbump is a maternal health platform. We have the Dearbump app, which is a pregnancy app where we support women with education, health tracking, and also access to midwives.
Okay, awesome. So, what inspired you to create Dearbump?
It was based on my own experience. So I have two sons, and both of my births were very different, but they were also both traumatic in different ways. And the first pregnancy that I had, I felt really unprepared. I felt like I didn't have the support, I didn't have the education or the awareness that I needed. And yeah, I had a really bad pregnancy and a traumatic birth experience. After my maternity leave, I left my job and I decided I wanted to start my own business and I wanted to help make sure other women didn't have the same experience that I had and that they had the information that they needed to make informed decisions, the information that I didn't have really. So it was all really around my own experience.
That's really interesting. So, do you mind sharing, let's say, for example, someone who's having their first baby, what's something that you wish you knew before, say, before getting pregnant?
There were so many things. It's the amount of questions I don't think people understand until you're pregnant. It's not something that we get taught about in school. So as soon as you find out you're pregnant, you immediately have so many questions, like millions of questions running through your head. Like, can I eat this? Can I go here? Can I get my nails done? Can I dye my hair? It's just absolutely everything you worry is going to affect the baby. So that's why I decided to add the midwife support in, because people have so many questions that they don't have answers to, and they can just ask a midwife and get that reassurance straight away. But honestly, I can't even specify one thing because there's just a million questions that run through your head.
That makes sense. Okay, so how were the early days of Dearbump look? How did they look like? Because you have a ton of growth, a lot of users, thriving community. How did you take it from the idea of what you want this to be to the product that it is right now?
So we actually started off as a pregnancy box. So I curated a box for each month of pregnancy. And within the box, it was different products, information that will help during that stage of pregnancy. So the idea was, at the time, subscription boxes were really popular. There was Birchbox. So it was kind of like Birchbox, but for pregnancy. Honestly, for me, it was just really exciting to create the product. All of my background has been in product development. So I worked at Unilever. So I had that experience of taking an idea and actually creating a product and then taking it to market. So for me, that wasn't really the difficult bit. It was more, how do we actually find customers now, and how do we build awareness and grow the community? That was the tough bit for me, and it took quite a while to do that. I thought I'd just launch and people would just come. It took a good year before we really started to grow and see customers coming in, and then we were then started to focus on customer retention. So yeah, the actual product itself, I think, was the easy bit, but growing the community was definitely hard.
Okay, so leaning more into that question, how did you grow the community? What kind of experiments if you don't mind sharing, what kind of experiments do you undergo to market your product? Because it's something I've also learned as somebody in marketing as well, that it's, you think you've built something really, really cool, but then the hard part is also marketing and selling it. How was that process for you?
So for me, this is my first business, so I was honestly just figuring it out as I went along. Obviously, if I was going to do it now, I'd do it differently. But at the time, it wasn't really structured experiments. We were kind of just trying to figure things out, try different things. We worked with influencers on Instagram. We did a lot of Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, a lot of influencer marketing. So we worked with like Lucy Mecklenburg and like some other actors and other celebrities. And I think one of the main reasons we actually grew was because of Lucy Mecklenburg. So when she was pregnant with her first, she posted about our boxes, and it was kind of like an overnight success. We completely sold out overnight, and we just had so many users from that and so many subscribers. And then that was really like a catalyst, because we then could look into like how to extend the customer lifetime and how to do like customer referrals and getting people to refer a friend. And that then gave us user generated content. So it all kind of stemmed from that. But yeah, it was mostly social media, Instagram, just utilizing my network as well. So like within Liverpool, I got involved with different women in business, like networking events. So there was a lot of word of mouth as well.
Okay, that's really impressive. All right. So a bit more about your company. So like, what was the thing that made you like feel like, okay, this is something that can go beyond the boxes towards building like a whole app with midwife support with the community? Like, what was the idea there?
I think so. I had my second child just after I founded Dearbump, and after my second, I obviously had a lot more information than I had the first time, but I had a different birth experience. And I think having a different experience was down to the midwives that I had. And I actually had a one-to-one midwife with my second, and I had so much more time with the midwife. And it just made me realize like the importance of midwives in making sure that you have like all the information that you need, that you can have an informed birth. Because with my first, I actually had a C-section. And so immediately with my second, the doctors automatically were like, okay, you're going to have another C-section. But I didn't want to. So my midwife advocated for me to try and have a home birth and to have a natural birth. And I think it just really made me see the difference in different people experience depending on what kind of support you have, what midwives you have. And I really wanted to have Dearbump as solving a problem. And I felt like with the boxes, it was solving a problem, but I wanted to solve a bigger problem. And I wanted it to be a lot more tech-based and a lot more health-focused. And after I had my second, I also had this postpartum condition. And when I looked into that, that was something I also didn't know about. And when I looked into it, I found that 1 in 3 women suffer from a long-term health condition after giving birth. And there's no data, and there's no treatment, and there's no kind of like explanation. So I wasn't given an explanation. I wasn't given a treatment plan. I was kind of just told like, oh yeah, like one day you'll be fine. So when I looked into that and I realized, wow, this happens to so many women and there's no data and there's no like treatment guidelines, how can I use Dearbump to actually like fill that gap? So I launched the midwife support on our website, and we found that that was bringing us a lot of organic traffic. And so people were coming to us to ask the midwife a question. And then I noticed like all the data we were getting through was really insightful into what women were worried about, what questions they had, what they were concerned about, and what they weren't getting from the NHS. So then I was like, how can I actually use this data to solve this bigger problem and actually contribute towards improving maternal health outcomes? So that's why I decided to build the app, because I thought, if we can build an app and we can start to collect all of this data around what women are experiencing and what their outcomes are, we can work with researchers and healthcare providers to actually improve outcomes and like, yeah, just put that data to good use.
Okay, that's really impressive. What are like the common challenges that pregnant women tend to face, like from your experiences, like with your users on the app, or even from your personal experience, like what are these challenges?
I think it's a lot of it is a lack of education and a lack of reassurance as well, because we don't get taught this stuff in school. When it happens to you, you're not sure what to do and you're not sure if it's normal. So you end up like panicking and becoming anxious. And when you start Googling things, and you'll get like 100 different answers to one simple question, and you just don't know what to trust. You just don't know who to trust. And there's so much misinformation online as well. And I think people really trust a midwife, and that's why that's worked so well, because there's so much conflicting information out there and people just don't know what information to trust. I think that's the hardest part, is like when you have a question and you Google it and it's like, but does that answer actually, is that relevant to my situation, like my personal situation? because obviously everyone's different and everyone's pregnancy is different. And even with the same person, every pregnancy you have is different as well. So it's like, is this actually personalized to me? And I think that's what is really good about the midwives, is they can take that history and they can personalize the answers so that you are definitely getting the reassurance and a trusted answer that you need.
Okay, that's really interesting. All right. So from your perspective, why do you think there's so much silence or shame around birth trauma and postnatal recovery?
This is such a complicated question because there's so many different like reasons behind it. I think like historically women have been kind of told not to speak up because there's kind of a fear around like, are you a fit mother? And like, do you know what I mean? Like it's really hard to explain. I think with me, I can talk about from my personal experience. When I had Charlie, the things that I experienced and the things that I felt and the things that I thought, I didn't know if that was normal or not because it's not something I was ever told. And so I kind of kept it to myself because I thought, oh, maybe it's just me. I didn't know that it was something I could talk about. So I think for a lot of women, it's that fear and like feeling like you're alone. And it's kind of a vicious cycle because the more people who don't talk about it, the more new mothers don't know that that's a normal thing to feel and like they don't feel like they can speak up. But then also there's, in terms of like mum groups, this is a whole separate issue. When I had my second and I did a hypnobirthing course, there were mums there who did not want to hear bad stories. They didn't want to hear about traumatic experiences because it scares them. It can be scary especially if you're a first time mom and it's your first pregnancy, you don't want to be scared in labor. Like fear is the worst thing you can have if you're in labor because it stops oxytocin. So I think there's a lot of things around like fear and also just it needs to be more normalized and people need to talk about it and understand that like these things are normal. Every single mother will experience these things and it's completely normal. And I think then it will be a lot easier for people to like speak up about it and ask for support as well.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, the thing is that like social, like you said with social media, like women tend to like be scared to like get information from the internet because you never really know who the source is sometimes. So I really find it like impressive that you're able to like have this community that has like midwives who are trusted professionals in this space to like give advice because like there are so many like threads, especially when you check like say Instagram about how like women like sharing their stories of how maybe they weren't prepared for something, say like some women lose their teeth, it reduces their bone density, like so many scary things. So I think it's like really cool that you have this like platform that preps pregnant women for what's about to happen so they have like the best possible outcomes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's definitely it. So obviously everyone has their own experience as well. So it's so hard to like take opinions and take other people's experiences because it's like, well, that might not happen to me or like, but I'm different and every pregnancy is different. So it's just really hard to take advice from other people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so a quick question. Does Dearbump partner with companies, like large companies, to like provide this as a service?
So we do offer, so we launched the app in October and it is something that we would offer businesses as an employee benefit to support parents in the workplace.
So so I wanted to like better understand like how does the support look like for these workplaces and how does the approach look like? Because I think we're coming to a time where like there are more open conversations about women's health, especially in the workplace. So like how to have these conversations like look like for you?
How do the conversations go with the businesses?
Yeah. Approach you first, or you have to approach them to see like, hey, this is something worth having as a benefit for your employees?
There's been a mixture. We have been approached by companies and then we've also approached companies. And I think from a HR point of view, the HR professionals absolutely love the idea. They really want to support workplaces. They really want to support pregnant women within the workplace and they want to support parents. So the conversations with like HR people, people and culture managers always go really, really well. I think where the issue is with senior leadership teams. So like when it goes to the board or the CEO, sometimes there's a disconnect between what the CEO and the board kind of want or have budget for, and what the HR managers know they want to, because obviously the HR managers want to support the people, whereas the CEOs don't necessarily understand that. And I feel like there is a disconnect there. So it has been really difficult, to be honest, talking to businesses. But yeah, we do have like our initial client base, which are really, really good in terms of like supporting parents in the workplace, and like just they're just so nice, honestly. But it is difficult. It's been really difficult.
Okay. So, what would you like say to employers who still see maternity care as a nice to have instead of something that's essential?
So it's kind of a no-brainer, but it's really difficult for businesses to see the long-term value and not kind of just worry about the short-term costs. But yeah, there is so much data around it, and it just makes so much sense. Like, I think the number's gone up, but it was, I think, 374,000 women leave the workplace every year because of pregnancy or because they weren't supported during pregnancy. And I completely resonate with that because I had the same experience. I wasn't supported during my pregnancy, and then I did leave the workplace. So I completely understand why as well, because when you're on maternity leave, you do think back to like, was this workplace supportive of me? And do I really want to go back somewhere that didn't support me during that time? And I think that's something that a lot of women think about when they're on maternity leave as well.
Okay, that makes sense. Dearbump is doing so many incredible things. So what's next for Dearbump? Like, what's something you're excited that you're building right now or you're going to be launching next?
So we actually are launching an antenatal course in the next few weeks, which is co-created with a doula, which I'm really, really excited about. And then we also have the Dearbump boxes. So how we originally started with the boxes, we're now turning that into a free box. So everyone who signs up, as soon as they become pregnant, they can sign up and they can get a free Dearbump box sent to their door. And that means that we're going to be working with maternity brands to provide free products for people, which is amazing. And that's something I'm really excited about as well.
Okay, that's really incredible. And all right. So you've spoken openly about imposter syndrome. So have there been moments of doubt you've had while building out your product?
Yeah, so many. I think especially when I was building the app, because I've never built an app before and I've never launched an app. And I was kind of like, it was a challenge to myself. I'm a software developer, so I've worked in tech companies, but I've never built an app. So it was the first time, and I was like, I really enjoyed building it, but the whole time I was like, who do I think I am building an app? Like, and everyone was like, but you are building an app. And then when I finished building it, it was like, I can't launch an app. Like, who do I think I am launching an app? And especially being a solo founder, I didn't really have anyone with me day to day to share the excitement and to share the like progress with. So it kind of was just like one day I didn't have an app, and then like a few weeks later I had an app, and it was kind of really surreal. And I was like, I can't launch it. I can't launch an app. But everyone was like, but you've built it. Like, you've done it. You've proven that you can do it. So it was, I actually spoke to a company that I invested in, another app, and I was like, I don't know how I can launch it. Like, is this how you felt? And the founder was so nice to me, and she just gave me like this massive pep talk. And I decided, okay, if I'm going to launch an app, it needs to be iconic. So I approached Slush in Liverpool and I said, how do you feel about me launching my app on stage? And then I think I announced it, and I was like, I've kind of said I'm going to do it now. So I've held myself accountable. So I have to do it. I can't back out now. It's too late to back out because I'm doing it on stage. So that was like the push that I needed really to like launch it. And it was so scary, but I did it.
That's so awesome. And I think like from your experience is like really incredible, like seeing like even without a co-founder for that support, you still had like a community of people who believed in your vision and supported you through to building it out and shipping it live. Like that's so cool.
Definitely.
All right. So, like speaking more on the live launch on stage, now that I have the background on why you did it live, how was the feeling like? Because we already like know this like thing with like live demos. Like, why did you say like this is how I'm going to do this? And what was the experience like?
It was so scary, but it was so amazing. Like, I plan. I've never prepared so much in my life. I practiced for about 10 hours on the same stage the day before. I just practiced it over and over and over again, so I was prepared. And then I just kind of shut myself away and sat in like a dark room. I didn't interact with anyone. I was just in kind of really focused on the talk. It was only 3 minutes long. So it was kind of like, it's only 3 minutes of your life. You can do this. So yeah, I mean, I just got on stage and I don't really know if I was fully like conscious of what I was doing. I was just kind of, I just rehearsed it so many times that it just kind of came out. And then, yeah, I got off stage and kind of like curled up into the fetal position. But honestly, it felt amazing afterwards. And like the response was so good. Like all the feedback was amazing. And yeah, it felt really good.
That's awesome. All right. So back to your app again. So like you've built such a massive audience and you have like a lot of really incredible traction. So like what has helped you like keep going when things felt uncertain or overwhelming?
Honestly, I feel like when I feel overwhelmed, I just strip everything back and like go back to basics, like what needs to be done, like what's actually a priority right now. But in terms of like what keeps me going, it's seeing the users and seeing them in real time. Because in the app, I can see the users asking questions and getting that reassurance, and it's like immediate feedback because you can see them actually saying, "Oh my God, I feel so much better now. Thank you so much. I feel reassured. I feel less anxious." So I'm seeing in real time that the product is actually helping people in real life. And it's kind of surreal to see that, but it makes me feel like, wow, this is actually helping people. I can actually see the impact in real time. So I think that's definitely what keeps me going.
That's really nice, and it's kind of like similar to the feeling I have when I see the users using Asada, because it's like sometimes I feel like, why am I even doing this? And I see like so many women like sharing their experiences of how this helped them or how that helped them, and they're excited to be a part of the community and them showing up for community events. Like it's such a rewarding experience, really.
It's amazing.
Yeah. All right. So back to maternal care from, let's say, a global perspective. So if you could like wave a magic wand and fix everything, or not everything, fix one thing about maternal healthcare in the world, what would that possibly be?
I think definitely more funding, more data, more funding, more research, and that's all kind of intertwined. So the more funding, the more research, and the more data that we can get, and then all of that will then close the gap so that we can then have better guidelines, better treatment, and better outcomes, and better outcomes globally. So I think definitely more data, more funding. It all starts with funding.
That makes sense. Yeah. All right. So let's take it a step closer into your application again. Oh, what was the process like for like let's just take it like, okay, before you had the boxes and then you decided to like improve it, and then you had this midwife feature. What was it like? What was the thought process behind, okay, this should be something that has midwife support, you need to have these people on the application? Like what was the thought process like, and then how did you go about onboarding, say, the first midwife and then everything after that? Like how was the process like?
So I was thinking for a while, I need to bring in experts, I need to bring in healthcare professionals, but I wasn't really sure that it was going to be a midwife. And then it was actually the midwives who reached out to me and they said to me, like, we provide the service where we support maternity brands with midwife support. And it was perfect timing because I was obviously already thinking about adding in the support. So yeah, it was actually the midwives that reached out to me, and then I was like, this is perfect. This makes so much sense. And it all kind of clicked then, that the midwife chat and the app and everyone and like people getting that reassurance that they needed. So it was really simple. It was a company who provide midwife support to maternity brands, and it was really straightforward. And it actually turned out that the midwives that contacted me was the same company from the one-to-one midwives that I actually had with my second child.
Nice.
So it was kind of just like a no-brainer, like, wow, I've experienced these midwives. I know what they're like. I know that they know what they're doing, and they definitely helped me with my second. So it was definitely the right kind of values fit and the right culture fit. So yeah, it was really straightforward, and we got on really well, and we had the same values. And we were all like, we just wanted to make sure women had the information that they need and feel empowered to make informed decisions. So it just, yeah, it was just really perfect timing, and it worked out really well.
Okay, that's really cool. All right. So I typically ask a lot of the guests this question because, of course, AI is the most trending topic, especially now. So how do you see AI supporting your product, for example, if you haven't already embedded it in your systems?
I think it will definitely help us scale because obviously we have a lot of questions coming through, and a lot of those questions are quite similar to each other. I think in terms of AI, where it can help is with frequently asked questions, simple questions like, can I dye my hair, or can I get my nails done, or like, can I get in a hot tub, or like we get questions like, can I eat chicken chow mein, things like that. I think with questions like that, we can definitely use AI to make sure the responses are quicker and make sure that the midwife's time is being used on more complex questions. And that will definitely help us scale globally, because if we have millions and millions of users, we're going to need a lot of midwives. So the AI will definitely take the pressure off and help reduce response time as well.
Okay. And then since we're also in the era where we have the T app that was recently hacked, or say their container was open mistakenly. So how is your approach towards like data privacy? Like how do you get all those women to like freely open up on your platform and understand that they're in safe hands, they can share freely their questions on your platform?
Yeah, so we have a privacy policy. We have everything's so transparent, and we have like disclaimers on there before they enter the midwife chat. Obviously, we're a small team and I'm the developer, so everything is really secure. As we grow, obviously we'd have to like work with, probably bring in some like more professionals in terms of scaling the product if we're bringing more people in. But at the moment, because we're such a small team, like nobody has access to that data except for me and the midwives. So all of the data is secure, and the privacy policies and everything is like really transparent as well. And I think with women especially, women are more likely to actually want to contribute their data as long as they know that it's to improve maternal health. And I think my vision has been really clear from the start that this is about improving outcomes, and it's not just about like selling like them things. Do you know what I mean? Like it's all about like our brand, and I think people see that in the vision, like they're contributing towards a better future. They're not just giving me data for me to sell to Meta like other apps have been exposed as doing. I think, yeah, like we're just really transparent about that.
All right, that answers my question. All right, so we are moving towards the end of the podcast. So a question for you, almost the final question. What advice would you have for a woman who's just had a tough birth and doesn't know what her next step should be? Or I could frame this as a different question, like, what's your advice for a woman who is expecting, like, and she wants to have the best possible outcome?
I think educate yourself as much as possible. So do an antenatal course. We've got an antenatal course launching in a few weeks, but honestly, any antenatal course, if you can do hypnobirthing, that's a really good experience. I think just making sure that you have all of that knowledge, because it's all scientific knowledge. Like when I didn't do it with my first, but I did it with my second, and I was so amazed at like how much more empowered I felt. I was actually excited to give birth because I understood the process and I understood how labor works and how like birth works, whereas I didn't have that the first time. So definitely just educate yourself as much as possible, and yeah, like talk to midwives, ask questions. No question is too small. Like don't worry about, because we do get a lot of people saying like, I'm really sorry, like this question's stupid, or this is a silly question. Like don't worry about it. If you have a question, then ask a midwife. Like that's what they're there for as well. So yeah, just basically just arm yourself with as much information as you can.
Right, that's pretty solid advice. Okay, so another question would be, no, I had it at the top of my head and it ran away. Oh no. Okay, sorry.
What was that?
Yeah, I had a question for you at the top of my head and then it just ran away as soon as I opened my mouth. Like this is it. Okay, right, I remember it now. Okay, so For somebody who has seen a challenge and they want to build a product out of it, say in women's health, like from your experience as a founder, like what would your advice be to that woman?
I think talk to as many people as you can. So talk to the users especially, and just don't build anything until you know that it's something that people actually want and it's something that they would pay for. Because I think it's so easy to be like, this is the solution because this is what I wanted or this is what I think people want. But actually you need to speak to the customers as much as possible and build the product based on what they're telling you, based on their insights, and also talk to as many founders as you can as well. So like reach out to me, talk to me. Like I'm always happy to give advice to people who are starting new businesses. That's something that I really love. Like the first phase is really exciting for me. So I love talking about that. But yeah, just talk to as many people as possible.
All right. That's very solid advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. And then the final question, or not, what's something that you want somebody who's listening to this podcast to walk away with? Like what's something that you want them to remember?
If it's someone starting a business, then like what I said. So yeah, just like talk, reach out. Like I'm happy to chat. If it's someone who's pregnant, then like download the app, make sure you do an antenatal course, chat to the midwives.
I think that covers it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing. And the final question for real this time. So, for someone who wants to reach you, like, what's the best place to find you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, Emma Abassi, or there's our website, which is dearbump.com.
Okay, awesome. I will be sure to include those in the show notes and in the description. Thank you so much, Emma, for joining me on the podcast. I really appreciate you sharing your insights and sharing more about how Dearbump came to.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for today's episode. If you want to learn more about maternal health, birth preparation, or midwife support, visit dearbump.com to explore the resources Emma and her team have put together. I'll leave details in the show notes and in the podcast description so you can connect with Emma directly. Her LinkedIn profile will also be in there. If this conversation resonated with you, send it to a friend, share it to the parent to be, or pass it along to someone working in maternal care. And don't forget to follow us at asaleb.tech on Instagram and check out www.asaleb.tech for more episodes like this one. We're also available on your favorite podcast platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and more. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thank you for being here and joining me on this learning journey to make women's health education more accessible for everyone. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.